Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science or Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about manufacturing paradox is the hot topic right now. So let's dive deep into it. So what exactly is the need for this so-called manufacturing? Well, we require things, and the things that we require nowadays are ludicrously complex, meaning back in the old days, everything you needed could have been done in your local area, so to say, and you barely may have to travel to city to do some small work or something like that. But like basically it was very local deal, so to say, and for thousands of years that was exactly the case. However, with modern technologies, that's not possible. Our technology is too goddamn complicated, like ludicrously complicated. And okay, then what? Well, if the thing is too complex, you would want to manufacture it under your country, meaning whatever your national border is. In case of India, I would be like, okay, I can get steel from here, I can get cement from here, I can get wires from here, I can get glass from here, whatever have you. But idea would be still should be inside a national border. Same will go for USA, but it should be inside the border. Now, why it is so important to keep it inside the border? If you do not, you give your remote control to someone else. For example, the good part, you get the stuff, GG. Bad part, you also give them the remote control. So they can directly affect your national reality from the outside of so-called nation. So this is not a good thing. And God help you if you are doing this with what we call a non-negotiable, meaning if India needs a missile, India will pay for the missile. Does not matter how much money. If India needs robotic stocks, we have to pay for the goddamn robotic stock. Does not matter how much money they charge. And yes, we do manufacture these things, but you have to know assemblies, microcontrollers, a lot of things are required, so to say. So if need is going outside of your national border, so is the control. It's not a good thing. It's not a good look for America to be like, hey, China, bruh, man, can you send me some masks? It's like, what the hell? So there is a genuine need for this sort of manufacturing for every country. Now, what's the reality of it? Like how this so-called manufacturing reality works? Well, no company makes their product in-house. Let that be very clear. Now, people, when they are saying this word, like let's say Elon Musk saying in-house, so it's saying from an engineering point of view, for another engineering point of view, manufacture to manufacture, so they can understand. But you have to understand from outside. Basically, as a civilian, there is no company that can do that. Like from start, like raw material goes in, everything comes out. That does not exist. So right now, there are three primary category of stuff that a company consumes in order to give you the finished product. First is raw material. Raw material is just went through one process. Basically, you took ore and you refined it, blah, 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 did, and then tada, you got steel sheets. That would be your raw material. Basically, you have to do a lot of processing. Then you will have components like wires. Again, you're not going to open a mine where you're going to mine the copper ore, then have a refinery process, then have that basically material ingot, so to say, going through dyes to make your wire, and then create a plastic factory next to it, PVC factory, and then that create that plastic so you can have an insulated wire. Yeah, no. So those will be classified as component level, basically screws. Screws are still made out of steel, but again, they have already gone through the processing. So raw material and components, all of those things are two primary consumer. And then you come to the most dangerous part, which is assemblies. Meaning, for example, let's say I'm building a company, and this company builds engine. Cool, GG. We can design it, we can CNC it, everything is fine, everything is dandy. The moment it comes to engine control unit, that has to be imported. So that is, in our case, would be an assembly. For example, let's say General Electrics, like we have CT scan. No, you do not. What you have is assembly of parts. So you have done all the assembly. That's the good part. That's the GG part. But if I look into it, 90% chances that the sensor, basically the detector block could be made out of Canon. Then slip ring could be made out of some other brand. Same would go for the other things also. So that will be assembly, meaning you are buying the whole damn thing. So raw materials, component, assemblies. Now, if your product consumes too much assembly level material, for example, let's say you made a air conditioning company and you are like buying a evaporator, condenser, compressor, the motor driver unit, remote controls, all of that. That means your opponent or any other company can just yeet your design without any issue, because again, you are not building anything. So we want to make sure this assemblies is reasonable. Of course, it's not logical to expect a company to do everything, but you should not be too comfortable where it's like, oh, let's just buy everything. Like for example, air conditioner companies, while they will be comfortable with compressor, many times they pay a lot of attention with evaporator and condenser, because that's their sweet sauce. Basically, even a little bit of efficiency translates to a lot of gain. So they're like, hey, that's personal stuff. So there's a balance there. But again, every company, every manufacturer, does not matter it's a Boeing, does not matter it's a Volkswagen, does not matter it's a General Electric, it will always have these three things coming in. You can have sheet metal, you can have wires, you can have screws, you can have power supply units. So all of these things go into it. Now, modern and most electronics right now is vulnerable only to China, meaning unless you have Chinese supply chain, you don't have any supply chain. Like, nope. Like even with Vietnam and Mexico, you look into it, it's like, ooh, it's like, ooh. It's like they are going from top down, not from bottom up. China had that luxury. They went from bottom up. So they have sorted everything. Meaning if you buy a fan, made in China fan, it's actually made in China. Meaning I'm talking about like a ATX fan like this. So the plastic is made in China, the circuit board is made in China, the MOSFET that is on the goddamn circuit board is made in China, the bearings is made in China, and the microcontroller made in China, so is the wire, so is the injection molding and all that. So it's 100% made in China. You go into Vietnam, they are making some good progress, like PCB, any Tom, Dick and Harry can do, plastic, any Tom, Dick and Harry can do, bearings, a lot of Tom, Dick and Harry can do. The moment you come to the materials that go onto the PCB, ooh, ish, no. And be mindful, Japan used to be able to do that. Even they have lost it. USA used to be able to do that. They have lost it. So fundamentally, as of now, it would be quite shocking the moment you touch that electronic assembly layer. Yeah, no. It's like China, China, China. So that's there. And India has a very good industry in terms of one very specific domain, which is our pharmaceutical industry, meaning we make really good medication. Like it's called, like over the top medication, like India is like, don't worry about it. Billions, don't worry about it. We got this. But even that, now we do have the brain power. Basically, we can take the raw material and get the stuff done. We still import a lot of things, what we call active pharmaceutical ingredients, come from China. And even if that, I'm pretty sure will be sorted soon, because again, it makes sense. Like early days, we were not consuming enough. Once we have shown the demand, people are starting to work to, okay, India has enough demand, let's solve that. But the tech, the moment you touch tech, so even our really promising and profit-bearing pharmaceutical industry is like, ooh, sir, no, no, don't look closely into our machinery that is used to make the damn thing. That is like, you go deep into metal, you can easily find it made in India metal. We good, we got this. The moment you go into electronics, that PCB, made in India, we got this. Go into components, nope. The moment you touch that layer, it's like, nope. So that's the problematic part of it. And USA was ironic country given the fact that they were on the top where they're like, they could build everything required to go to the moon in-house to like, bro, we can't even make a mask anymore. It's like, what the hell happened? So like you fell, like that was bad. So that happened, and dependency for everything. And ironically, the same thing happened with Europe also. Europe, even after World War, they were actually so competent that they were like many of the auto industries like, we got this, we good, we got this. No China, we good, we got this. So even right now, the moment you look into them, it's like everything is good. It's just like the slowly assemblies are like, dude, we are not making wire harness. Some other company is doing it. Look into that. Yeah, we are just buying it from China. So from wire harness to ECU units, which mind you, that was the, like, European cars had a very good reputation, that where it came from. They were making their own ECUs. Now again, they're still designing their ECU, is being made in China. So same went with Japan. Japan again, they still have some capability, but even if you slice a Japanese car and it's like, ooh, you'll be like, ooh, especially that anything that is on PCB, you'd be shocked how much complete control China has on that regard, even though you hear a Japanese capacitor. So fundamentally, everything has that vulnerability layer the moment you go into that PCB. So that's the reality of it. It is what it is. Now, how the heck China went there? Well, China had very clear vision. Now, if I give you an idea of like China and India, why China's progress is so greater compared to India's, is that India did have this basically fear, so to say. Basically, we were very brutally oppressed, and we lost a certain amount of courage. Basically, if you look into India's founding father, who when he created basically Vikram Sarabhai, when he created ISRO. Now ISRO's has a amazing track record, but its record is very, it could have been awesome, but the problem was it's like we do not have a dream to compete. Compare that to China's dream. It's like we're gonna world conquer. It's like yeah, I am poor, like flat out. They were much worse than we had. It's like yeah, we are poor, but we won't be poor. In India's case, every time I look into our early founding father, there is a fundamental something wrong where they are like yeah, we are poor right now, but we will be poor. I'm like, why? Like India is rich. Like we have Lamborghini showrooms. We buy Lamborghinis. We have Rolls-Royce showrooms. We buy them. iPhones, we buy them. We good. We got this. We got the money. We got G-Wagons. We good. We have the money. Like we have so much money that you will be shocked like how much money we have. But like somehow like that founding father, like that oomph, that China really had right. Like from flat out, that's the reason why China became so big. It's like they had that part like, okay, yeah, we are broke right now, but we won't be broke forever. It's like, if not me, then my son. If not my son, his son. Like there was no doubt. It's just a matter of time. So that clear vision, basically that like world dominance, and they were very clever. They figured out, hey, you don't conquer the world, make them the world give you the control. That's why I said the moment your things go outside of your border, you give them the remote control. You get the things, remote control goes out. So they're like, hey, what if we collected all world's remote control? So they did. And how did they manage to do it? Again, they used poverty as one of the sweet spot, cheap labor. That's how they got in. Let that be very clear. Cheap labor was the starting point. It's not the point. I have no idea why the heck world never updated this, but that's not the case right now. Nobody can do anything anymore. That's the problem right now. So cheap labor was the starting point, early days. And CCP was willing to do anything to use that to build a foundation, and they built the foundation. Yeah, and who's the biggest culprit? Again, I do not know the exact timeline. I do not have a time machine, but the biggest culprit is 1992 Motorola. Now, Motorola was the first MNC that took a big risk on that. Like, why it was a big risk? There were companies that were assembling things in China, but they went there and they did tech transfer. Basically, how the heck you build the actual silicon, they did that. And because again, just teaching someone does not mean they can use it day one. Because for example, you can teach me all about laser cut. I know the science, I know the stuff. Does not mean I can just take your sheet metal, put it there, I can't do that. Like it will take time. So the same issue was happening with Motorola. But again, Motorola had a long-term plan. It's like we're going to create a talent system where over time, they will be able to sort it. We should not need to fly out someone from USA to do quality control here. And it worked. And after seeing the first MNC success, Intel jumped. Intel jumped in 1995. Then TSMC, yes, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, they yeeted there. Then Philips is now is called NXP. They jumped in 2000. So everything, and let that be very clear. People who are like, okay, 4 nanometer and blah, blah, that does not matter. Like I can just shut off those super high-end systems, and then people will realize Taiwan does not matter. Because everything else in the circuit board is made in Japan. Everything else, like you'd be shocked. Like it would be hard for you to, it's like, can I get it low enough even from Japanese manufacturers? You'll be like, yeah, you can get it. That's the good part. There is some option. It's just that you'd be shocked. There is a reason why expensive product advertises that part. It's not that cheap. Like there is a genuine cost difference. So everything that is on the board, they had to build that. Once they did that from 1992, yeah, they got this. So basically 32, 33 years ago, their foundation was laid. It was really good and they started to fly and they started to collect remote of everybody. Every single one. So how the heck that became possible? Well, it became possible because of the top 1%er, and one thing that I keep saying, MNCs have no loyalties, meaning if it was possible for Boeing, Boeing will sell America. So let the MNC have no loyalty, no soul. Does not matter whether it's from Japan, does not matter it's from India, does not matter it's from here. They will sell. So they convince the whole world that a nation cannot do anything. And again, this has been taught in our school books. This has been taught in our education system. YouTubers are saying this. And again, I do not think they are understanding what they are saying, but they are like, no, we need world trading because we not everybody can. It's like, no. Because here's the deal, think it through. Why the heck China can do everything? And when I'm talking about CT scan, let that be very clear. China can make that whole thing in China. They do not need to go to Japan. They do not need to go to America for that slip ring. They're like, bro, we got this. We got this. We good. We got this. And again, why they got it? Because CCP had a clear-cut goal. It's like, no, I do not like the idea of like buying this sort of important technology from outside. So over time, China became a country, and again, let that be very clear, they have not reached that zenith yet, but they are almost there. Like the foundation wise, it's like, bro, we done. Like whenever you're talking about engineers, architects who are building, especially tall buildings, they're like, foundation is the key. You have good foundation, you good. You don't, lol. So they have good foundation. So everybody looking at the trajectory is like, yeah, we good, we got this. So somehow everybody who's like, no, you need to world trading, you do not want tariff and all that, is like, but China can do everything. It's like, are you not seeing the stupidity there? So that's there. And the worst thing that we did as a civilian population is that somehow convinced ourselves cheap goods are a good idea. Everybody's like, oh, we should buy cheap. It's like, cheap goods means nothing if you lose your job. In a jobless world, cheap goods means nothing. So that's all. And why does this horror story was like, oh, the horror? It's like, dude, the reason why this is horrible is simply because that 1%er won that ludicrous, the fifth yard basically. They can easily pay them good. And again, that's why they did not want to work in America. It's like, we have to pay them. And again, if you pay them, your price goes up. No, your price does not go up. Your profit margin shrinks. They're like, hey, why make 30% profit on iPhone if we can make 98% profit on iPhone? That's the reason iPhone is made in China, not that, oh, nobody wants to work in America. It's like, everybody wants to work. Everybody wants job. People are wise enough to know that. It's just that they're like, bro, but I can't get my 7th yacht, man. Like, come on, man. Like, what's life if you do not have a 10th yacht? So that profit margin is the issue, not the product cost. It's just that, why make $1 million when you can make billions of dollars and F the country? So cheap goods means nothing if you do not have. And just to make one smartphone, it will take a whole state of either America or India. Whole state. You're like, oh, this is just a factory. It's like, nah. To just have that factory, you would need someone who makes the concrete, someone who makes the steel, someone who makes the wiring, someone who has to make the lighting, someone who has to make all the substructures that has to go, and sub-assemblies into that main factories that has to go. And if you do that, this is the what Motorola inevitably gave them. It's like, once they had that, everybody's like, hey, there are now companies coming. Intel is coming. What if we established our own resistor manufacturing company? It's like, voila, all the resistors. Everyone, and because now there was so much demand, more companies came. It's like, hey, they are making their own resistors. Now some capacitor guy is like, bruh, I can make the capacitor. Boom. And I was like, bro, they are making so many machines. I can make the machines. Boom. Just 10 years, they have everything. Everything from start to finish, every single component, like every single component is made in China. Just from 1992. Just like before that, if you had said that, Japan would have like, lol. If you had said that to America, lol. You said that to European Union, it's like, oh. But all that happened from 1992. Because again, they went from bottom to up. And again, they had enough understanding that to make one phone, it needs a whole state of people. So can a country become truly, let that be very clear, truly self-sufficient, where it's like, bro, everything we actually need, we got this. Of course, we can still have like, chocolate, cocoa, things of this nature. That's a different thing. But like important things. Here's your country does need to have some criteria. Criteria number 1, you must have population. If you do not have population, lol. You need land mass. Duh, you need some place. Sea access, that's a very desirable. Landlocked countries are like, ooh, you do not want to be in that position. Then stable politics. So let's calm down. Can China do everything? Of course. Can India do it? Of course. Can United States do everything? Of course. They used to do it. Like, think about it. Like, how the heck Americans got convinced that they can't make anything, given the fact that they made everything that was needed to go to moon. It's like, how? Indonesia, growing, but they're good. They're good, stable. Pakistan, no. Politics is not stable. They did not even have one minister who completed, a prime minister who completed one of the full term. Like, how long they have to, like, they are not politically stable enough. Nigeria, Brazil, good stuff. Bangladesh, politics is like unshaky, but again, they are still very important for fabric manufacturing. Russia, lol. Ethiopia, Mexico, manufacturing hub. So let that be very clear. If you check all these core components, because again, if somebody says, oh, what can Sri Lanka do it? It's like, nah, brah. Nepal do this. I'm like, I like the spirit, but it's like, nah. You do need all these things: population, land mass, sea access, and stable power. And do not talk about minerals or all that. That's not an issue. Never was an issue. It never was. It's just that profit margin, man. It's like my 7th yacht. There is nothing more than it's like, oh, but we need superconducting magnets. And it's like, no, you don't. We need a rare earth magnet for EV motors. No, you don't. We call it magnetless motor. You can use a cheap induction motor, or you can use this advanced technology made in 1910. We call it brushless, synchronous AC motor. It's an AC motor that is synchronous. Generally, that means it has brush. So you yeet the brush part and you put inductive couplers there. Done. Problem solved. That has been solved for century almost, I would say. It's ancient technology. And again, right now there is at least 3 companies that are making it. If you type magnetless motor, there's a good chance my video will show up. So it's there, it's sorted. In every regard, it's like that. It's like we had lithium, it's just that we did not have all the sub-assemblies required to utilize it. So it's like, every country is like that. It's like, you can't just say, oh, why not you are making lithium ion batteries in India? It's just that, yeah, I have to have so much money poured into it. So I can make someone who can make the packaging, someone who can make the rolling assembly, someone who can make this. It's like, by that time, it's like, yeah, lol, go to China. Let that be very clear. If you have land, and again, that's why land mass does matter, there is a very good chance you have almost everything. So these lie that people somehow been convinced, it's like, that's not how it works. It's just the profit margin that people are bitching about. It's like, oh, it's like, iPhone will be expensive. No, iPhone will be fairly priced. And you will not be able to like, hey, what about my $20 trillion mansion? That's the thing they're missing. And that's why they're convincing the world, cheap product. No, you just want that profit margin to be huge. And again, let that be very clear that from 1982, they could have easily recovered. From 2010, from 2020, but thankfully, bitch slap of Corona did help. So what's the solution here? Thankfully, it is solvable problem, and you do need one thing that is a bit lovey-dovey, but you do need it, is that your whole country has to have faith in this. That lie has to be removed from people's brain. Like, again, if you're talking about big countries, land mass and all that jazz, it has to be removed from your brain. Where it's like, no, we can do it. We used to do it. We can do it. In case of India, of course we can do it. We are not going to be poor forever. Like, we are freaking buying G-Wagons, man. Heck, even in my small town, we have freaking BMWs. It's like, so we got the money part. It's just that we need the balls part. And balls requires faith. We can do it because Mark 1 will be garbage. We have to have the faith to push through. And it's a long-term plan. That's the thing. You have to understand. China did not become China from 1992. It became slowly over time. And it can be done from bottom up. This is the biggest mistake I have seen in every country that is trying to solve this problem, be it Vietnam, be it Mexico. They're always doing top down. It's like, I want Intel here. It's like, that's not how it works. You're digging your own grave. You have to come from bottom up. Bottom. You have to make sure you can make power. If we can make this, then we are safe. Because right now, I can live without a semiconductor, very high-end flagship SoC, we can live. We cannot live one day without this sort of semiconductor being manufactured, which are generally manufactured at 200 nanometers, 100 nanometers, 50 nanometers, something like that. They're never made out of latest and greatest. TSMC does not touch that. But again, if they shut off, the end. You sell millions of those chips, like high-end flagship chips. You send billions annually of these chips. They are that high importance. Like, you are buying a LED tube light. You think about LEDs. Yes, deal. That's the cheap part. The hard part is the power supply unit. Again, power supply unit generally has a lot of passives, not that big of a deal. The moment you touch controller is basically the puppy that is controlling the MOSFETs. Ooh, you're like, yeah, China. And it's like, that's the whole thing. China has made sure the foundation is there. Meaning, not only you can just get a power supply unit, they can build one for you. It's like, oh, you want a custom one, quality one that has power factor correction? We got you, fam. We got you. We're good. So it has to be from bottom up. Every time India has made that mistake, we have got bitch slapped. So we have to learn this. It cannot be like, we need a jet. No, it has to be parts that make a jet. You use that parts for other things, like how Ukraine has learned in a battlefield. It's like, hey, learn to build jet engines. It's like, what's the point? We don't have fighter jet. Does not matter. Build the freaking jet engine. It's like, what can we do? Make cruise missiles. What can we do? We can make stealth drone. Figure out the jet engine, then figure out everything else. Build the parts that brings the thing. Bottom up. That is very clear. Bottom up. Up to down, dead. So, and it does require a whole ecosystem of talent. That does require balls. So I think America can easily recover because they are not known for anything, but they are known for balls. So that part is sorted. Now we can't focus on big flashy thing. This is a very big problem with India. It's like, we want this. It's like, no, you want all the passives in that board to be made in India. Otherwise, does not matter. It's like, it will be like, yeah, we can make all silicon. China would be like, yeah, bitch slap this. Yeah, cut off all their supplies for all the inductors. We did. All the capacitors, we did. All the resistors, we did. So fundamentally, bottom up. Solar inverters, CNC, microcontrollers, those has to be priority, not GPUs. not AI chips. That does not matter. Like we will be poofed if we cannot make power supply units. So that's much higher priority. 100 nanometers is more than good enough. Thankfully, that is open source, meaning how do you make the actual silicon? Like it does require a lot of software development kit that has unique knowledge into it. Basically, how do you create that physical pattern? That has been sorted. That has been made open source. So we don't even have to pay for that. We just have to make that cheap, efficient, strong, and powerful. That can be there. And China has completed 100% of it. Let that be very clear. At this point in time, yes, China still has some growing left to do, but they are literally on a path that in next 20 years, if they do not get boomed by something else, they'll be like, we got this, bro. We got this. You had the 90s technology. We got the 2050s technology. So solution is there, but we have to fundamentally believe it. Everybody in the supply chain has to believe it. And one thing you have to understand, Chinese people have learned a lot. Like for example, when I'm working with Indian laser cutter who are cutting laser sheet for my fume extractor, it's like there was a issue. It's like I exported the DXF, it was like in millimeter unit. Their software is set up so that it expects it in centimeter. So meaning all you have to do is multiply that DXF file by 10. Normal. And that's why we're supposed to use basically metric system. And he was acting like it's like such a hard thing. I'm coding stuff, man. I'm doing PhD for you, man. I'm like, you do that with basically Chinese seller online. They're like, bro, we got you. We got you. You have a problem? Sorry. They will say sorry. It's like, bro, sorry. We'll solve it. Tuk, done. Go home. My face-to-face experience is that bad. That's why I said like the India did had something lost in the battle of India's independence. So fundamentally there is a solution, but we do need to act quickly, because if we delay too long, people, again, once you believe that idea of like, oh, cheap goods, it's like, no, you can make cheap goods even though you are paying much higher prices. It's just that your profit margin has to go down. It's like, oh, you can't afford your 11th yacht. No, that has to go down. So solution is there. That's the good part. So this was my presentation on basically the manufacturing paradox. Hopefully you have liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show my excitement. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.